me see. Let me check my volume. Why do I always do that? Why do I always do that? I knew it. I knew it. There you go. That's much better. Huh? And I was gonna say something concerning my memory. I gotta write stuff down, man, or else I'm gonna forget everything that's going on. I swear, it's gonna pass me by. So, we have Ricardo in the house today. We don't have Seek. We don't have Six Actual. We have Meandering Mike. And also, I have two vids from Blue Panther Games. Yep, started up his YouTube site again. And it's Herman Lutman talking about his new game. And I'm not going to mention the game. Do you know why? Because I forgot to write it down. And I forgot. But anyways, there's a short explanation, about a 6-minute video, that I'm going to put in the show. And also, at the end completely, I'm going to have Herman, who has another video from Blue Panther. You can go check it out on their website. But I asked Herman if I could put it on, and he said, yeah, go ahead. I hope Steve doesn't mind. I'm sure he doesn't mind. It's free publicity for him. I'm going to have Herman teach you how to play said game at the end completely. So when the show finishes, Herman starts up with how to play. I figured that would be the best, you know? Because if you don't want to watch it here, stop it at the end, go to Blue Panther, and give them your love. Huh? God, I'm on the ball today. So, alright. We have that. Also, Artie and I are going to be on the War Room ID Jesters from 4 to 6 with Nate and Kurt. I think that's it. I don't know what's going on. So check us out there for sure. For sure. And, hey, I did it. I said what I had to say. Also, we had, what did we have? We had, I forgot what we had, but we had it. Anyways, I'm gonna start the show because I'm obviously in a kerfuffle and a verklempt kind of state. So, with that said, people, be nice, watch the show.
Hello, this is Riccardo Masini, and this time the greatest day in history and games is September 7th, 1812. The day when one of the greatest military leaders of all time learned a true lesson that there is something worse than a complete defeat, an incomplete victory. But the of the Battle of Borodino. Now, we are speaking about Napoleon's invasion of Russia, and we all know how things ended up. But what is less known is how things started. And they started quite well for Napoleon. The nation of surprise was, I think, more or less complete, and especially the Russian High Command was in a state of semi-panic and a great confusion, because it was not an overall accepted military leader of the Russian side when the invasion started. Napoleon made great advances, but also made some very serious mistakes, especially in underestimating the logistical challenges, and we all know that, and also of being drawn up into the Russian terrain, really seeking time after time, week after week, a decisive battle. He thought to have that battle at Smolensk, in the great siege of Smolensk, but this did not happen, and he made the first mistake, the Great Fire of Smolensk. Smolensk was almost a holy city, and the Great Fire of the city during that siege really enraged the Russian people and transformed that conflict into a semi-religious and semi-patriotic challenge for all the Russians. At that time, feeling the change in the situation, Tsar Alexander of Russia nominates overall commander the whole General Kutuzov. And Kutuzov was a weird figure because he was partly loved by the conservatives, but he was also highly original as a commander. But Alexander then makes another mistake, and he himself pressures Kutuzov for having an open confrontation in an open field. But Kutuzov doesn't want any of that. Kutuzov knows after Austerlitz, he was the overall commander at Austerlitz, that in an open confrontation, direct confrontation in open field, the French and the Grand Army, that is an army composed of contingents coming from all over Europe, will be very difficult to beat. In the meantime, commanders on the field, Russian commanders on the field continue to retreat. General Konovitsin continues to retreat. August 28th is at Vyazma. September 1st, he leaves Gdansk to the French and the Grand Army. The Tsar pressures again and again Kutuzov for an open confrontation to stop the French, and Penningsen, the top Russian general in the Russian staff, Russian imperial staff, he solves the dilemma. He finds a suitable position at Borodino, near the village of Borodino, near an affluent of the river Moskova. Yes, it is very close to Moscow, but it is a suitable ground, because you can stop the French there. It is a good defensive ground. There is only one problem with the deployment, because Kutuzov accepts the deployment, and he deploys the army along that affluent of the Moskova, near Borodino. That is the left of the deployment. There is a redoubt, the redoubt of Shevardino, a fortified position, but it is not so strong, and mostly it is just garrison to leave time to just delay the Grand Army and to gain time for the rest of the Russian army to build appropriate defenses, because they want to fortify all over the entire river with the redoubts. And on September 5th, Napoleon, as always, is far quicker, is far faster than everyone expects. And even if there are some quarrels between his marshals, Napoleon manages to attack on September 5th Shevardino. He invests the position of Shevardino by the Polish troop. We are on the Russian left. On the Russian right, where there is the village of Borodino, comes Prince Eugene with the Italian troops fighting with the Grand Army and attacking the position of Borodino. And everybody expects Shevardino to fall quite quickly, but Shevardino resists. And this gives enough time to the rest of the Russian army to create great defenses, mostly to fortify two great positions: the Great Redoubt near the village of Borodino itself, on the Moscow side of the river, on the east side of the river, and what will be called the Bagration's Flashes, another redoubt more to the south, more or less near Shevardino. Anyway, Napoleon, we are at the next day. Shevardino falls, all right, but it takes an entire day for Shevardino to fall. And so Napoleon has to assault a highly fortified position. Now, another Napoleon's marshal, Marshal Davout, we all know Marshal Davout, suggests, well, maybe this is a bit of a result here, but more or less what Longstreet, in many decades after, would suggest to Lee at Gettysburg. Essentially, Davout says, but why should we attack frontally this position? Why should we try to outflank that position. Napoleon, well, generally at Gettysburg, just wanted to get into the thing and make a frontal assault. Napoleon, yeah, he evaluates this option, but really choose to make a direct assault because he fears that the Russian army will slip away once again. Now he wants that battle. Now he wants that confrontation. So a frontal assault he is. And Napoleon has some reasons to do that, because the entire, with the fall of Shevardino, the entire position of Borodino is just an enormous salient. That is a position with a lot of weak points, and so he says, okay, let's attack those weak points. There are problems of artillery coordination and other coordination between marshals, but Prince Eugene manages to capture the village of Borodino itself with Italian troops. This is a great start for the battle. But more to the south, the first assaults against Bagratión's flèches, well, they are fierce, they're terrible. And even if there are contrasts with Russian generals, with Bagration taking troops away from one general and another one taking troops away from Bagration, there is a great confusion. However, the troops themselves hold and even recapture those positions that are initially lost. So the Russians are constantly holding up to almost to the last man, then withdrawing, then counterattacking again with fresh troops. This is a constant of the entire battle. So there are many successive assaults. Davout doesn't manage to definitively capture the positions. Then comes Ney, which finally captures the positions, also thanks to Murat's cavalry, but there are other counterattacks and also high losses due to concentrated Russian artillery fire. So it is a very difficult situation. Up north, and this is in the south, Bagration's flèches, up north, after Borodino, Prince Eugène wants to attack. Now, everybody is in the south, is focused on the south. Let's attack with Italian troops, continue with the momentum of our initial attack against the Great Redoubt. But Prince Eugène himself is distracted by a rearguard action by some Cossack cavalry troops, and so he loses time concentrating his rearguard, repelling this diversionary attack. So only at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he can attack the Great Redoubt, once again with the help of Murat. But once again, withdraw, fierce defense, withdraw, then counterattacks by the Russians, another entanglement. Now, and in the center, now the focus in the center, near the position of Semenoskoye. But once again, no decisive results. In all this, Napoleon still has his Imperial Guard. While all his marshals are busy essentially trying to do too many things at once against those pesky Russians that do not want to retreat, or when they retreat after terrible losses, they immediately counterattack their position, the Guard can attack one of those weak points, and all the marshals in succession ask Napoleon, send the Guard here. Now the Russians are about to collapse. But in this moment, Napoleon withholds the Guard. He does not engage the Guard, the Imperial Guard, thinking that he will need those troops, those fresh troops, for the remainder of the campaign. Is very far from his initial starting point. And so the day ends, essentially. The battle whittles down, and so the Battle of Borodino ends with all of Napoleon's top marshals directly engaged, and no one of them getting that definitive, decisive support to obtain a great victory. Kutuzov manages to withdraw his army. Yes, it is a battered Russian army, but it is still a war army. It is still functional army, and so Moscow has to be abandoned. But there will be the Great Fire of Moscow. We all know that, and the Great Retreat. And yes, the Russian army will be ready for exploiting that great retreat by the Grand Army and destroying that Grand Army. Then after that terrible retreat and at the Battle of Berezina, at the end of the Russian invasion. Because after Borodino, Moscow falls, but the campaign continues and carries on. And that is one of the great turning points of history, and surely a great turning point for the life of Napoleon. So this is the chronicle of one of the most decisively indecisive battles of all time, and it is a protagonist of so many war games. The game I've chosen for today is The Most Terrible Battle, Borodino, published by White Dog Games and designed by Michael Kennedy. It is a very classic war game. So it is very simple, but it is a good step up in quantity of counters and of possible decisions, of possible options. Very good for your second war game, or if you have someone who you have already taught him or have the principles of wargaming and you want to face and what you want to propose another somewhat meatier, okay, somewhat bigger war game, but still traditional, still very simple. The scale up is only in quantity. The mechanics are very basic. There are some twists regarding battlefield visibility and some interesting option rules. The game stresses out all the difficult coordination of the different corps. There's a somewhat longish setup, but it is very interesting, and also it has very interesting and fascinating scenarios like Shovardino. That is a great introductory scenario for the game. We're speaking of the game about, I think, 4 or 5 pages of rules, nothing more. So a very accessible traditional war game, which is always a good thing, because in this way you can really introduce people to traditional war games with a very well-known battle and a very engaging game. So this was Borodino, and that's it for this time. See you on the next battlefields. Ciao.
Here at Noble Knight Games, we've been carefully growing. Black Cherry. Black Cherry.
Here we go with the crux of the show. Excuse me. Mark Felton of Mark Felton Productions. He looks like a vampire, doesn't he? 3 videos. Mahatma Gandhi. Combat soldier? You're damn right. Also, German panzers did invade Britain. Maybe on Guernsey or something like that, eh? Also, upcycling Nazi Germany, post-war civilian reuse of military kit. I'm sure everybody's going, no, no, don't. It's worth a fortune today. I remember when I was young, at the Army surplus, we could get a authentic German helmet of World War II, an M34, I think it's called, for like $50. If. All right. Excuse me. Indy Nidel's fantastic channel. World War II has come to an end. 10 more years of World War II and Time Ghost. He says something. It's one of the videos. Also, week 314, the end of World War II. September 2nd, 1945. The name of the game has 2 videos, and I don't know what happened here, but it's how to play Micro Space Empire, and also how to play Führer Barbarous, Warfare in Time of Attila. Look at that. Something's wonky with my computer. Please, no, don't tell me. Don't tell me. What can I tell you? I'm telling you. Artie of ARDWULF'S Lair has 3 videos, and it's San Diego HISCON chat with Harold and friends. Yeah, we had that last week. Plus, counter clipping episode 188, Advanced War Games. He's gotta freak me out. And also the Chit Show with Dan and Artie. I'm Dan. Access Empires and Other Madness with Thomas Prowell. Nice guy, Thomas. Nice guy. He's got the same condition as me, but he's smarter. My favorite Frenchie, Fred Serval of Homo Ludens, is doing Glory 3 by GMT Games, and I'm thinking this is a Ted Racer game. We intend to move on your works, episode 11. I might be completely wrong. And the General Smitty's Game Table and unboxing Case Blue, part of the Decision Games campaigns in Europe on Smitty's Game Table. And look at those eyes, eh? Unboxing Pipe Creek, Mead's Last Stand on Flying Pig Games YouTube channel. This is a game by Claude Waylands and obviously produced by Flying Pig Games, huh? The Leonidas of ASL, George Yotis, the Canis George. Calimera, Calispera, Calinita. I don't know where you're at. And it's Hangers On, Initial Thoughts, and German Setup. This is Advanced Squad Leader with George Yotis. Yeah, I thought there was more information on the screenshot that I took, but there isn't. But that gives you incentive to go to George Yotis' channel. For our Polish viewers, Wojennik TV Michel is unboxing Chad Jensen game called Urban Sprawl. An unboxing. Plus, Villagers and Villains, The Borderlands, a review on Wojennik TV. World War II Solitaire board games Face and Hands here is continuing with D-Day Dice, 2nd edition, Way to Hell. Playthrough, beach number 14, Juno Beach. Where is Way to Hell? Do I have... I got Way to Hell, but it's stuck there somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Check it out on World War II Solitaire board game channel. The Face wants you. Mo of Mo's Game Table has 2 videos. World at War 85 First Look. That's a Lock and Load Publishing. And Phantom Fury 2nd Edition, a preview from Nuts Publishing on Mo's Game Table. Prasuta Goose, the Orwell Wargamer, is checking out Saratoga 1777. Go back to the roots, Americans. Washington Games. Worthington Games is because I'm looking at George Washington, right? Come on. You know what I'm saying? My review and thoughts, he says. Check it out. Prasuta Goose, the Orwell Wargamer. my own worst enemy, Divine Right, on unboxing. He seems excited. If he's excited, so should you be. On the Tank Museum, see inside the last British heavy tank, the Conqueror. This is Tank Chats are Reloaded. The Boss, Mark Ruggiero, Clark Commando 1983, gives us a fireside chat, and there's a few posters, and I think they are signed by Roger B. McGowan. Yeah, look at that. Hey, I have a Panzer one. I think it is signed. I think Roger signed it for me, but I don't have that one. The one on the left. What can I say? The Board Game Chronicles Angola, How to Play. Game by MMP. That fantastic channel that is Legendary Tactics, a Canadian channel with excuse me, 53,000 subscribers. Hey, look who's there. David Thompson, board game designer David Thompson from Osprey Games. What his grandmother something. Also, Cosmic Conquest board game, a preview and first look, Rising Empire Studios. What game would designer Isaac Childers bring with him to a desert island? Why, was he the first one who coined that? Isaac Childers. I used to make a fly called the Childers. Atlantic salmon fly by Mortimer M. Kelson. I'm telling you. And last but not least, Justin Gray, designer of Shards of Infinity. What's his favorite two-player game on Legendary Tactics? Hissy Cat, 2 videos, a print and play quarterly. Violent Skies, 1940, Dynamo to the Blitz. You know, I go on Wargame Vault and I check out all this print and play stuff. There's a lot. And I downloaded, well, I bought some tank game, which is a lot of fun. Anyways, Waters Unvexed, 3 Battles of the Mississippi River, 1862, American Civil War, by High Flying Dice Games.
Hey everybody, Herman Lutman here. I just want to introduce you to my latest game, Tattered Flags, game number 1, Into the Whirlpool. Some of you may know that this is somewhat based on my very first game design for Victory Point game about a dozen years ago called Gettysburg the Wheatfield. I've taken that basic idea and we've really updated it. We have basically new mechanics, but the subject matter is essentially the same. This is a board game that mimics a miniatures game. So let me just show you what's inside the box. So first we have our map of the wheat field and the immediate area. I hope I got that all on camera. Here's the famous wheat field itself. You'll see Stony Hill over here, which is a very important feature. All along here is Hook's Ridge. Behind here is Little Round Top, just to give you a general idea of what you're talking about. Down here is Devil's Den. And up here is the Peach Orchard. Beautiful artwork, very detailed. You'll see some green fields, the wheat field, there's woods. We have Rose's Run here and Plum Run. And one thing you might notice immediately is that this is not a free-form map like the original was. We've superimposed these 8-pointed spaces here, and these will guide how your units can maneuver and face along the map. So this is a little bit easier to manage as a player rather than moving with a ruler and doing turns, etc. Let's see what else we got here. Well, we'll get out our little dice. We've got 2 blue, 2 white dice. Now this game is based on percentages primarily, and that's why you need 2 different colored dice for each player. We have a deck of battle cards. As is typical for many of my games, we'll introduce all sorts of random events, tactical maneuvering you can do, effect command and control, leader casualties, all sorts of great stuff that both players can play upon one another. There also can be used for default events. You can use any card and discard it to move a unit to pivot a unit or to issue one fire. So these are multi-purpose cards, and how players use these is very important in the game. Let's get to the pieces. So you get 2.5 sheets. So obviously blue units here, butternut units are Confederates. Each unit is about 110 men, or in the case of a battery, about 3 guns. You'll see, I'll explain this in the how to play video, is exactly what all these numbers mean, but this is what the units look like, and on the back they have the battle war inside, and you'll see that there's more smoke, some casualties, really nice graphic presentation. We have various markers for disruption, confidency, going to ground. We have markers for giving orders. Orders are very important in this game. Hits, out of command markers, as I said, for disruption. We have our leaders down here. These are our brigade leaders. And a turn marker and a shattered marker. Now the game comes with a number of scenarios, 6 to be exact. And what Blue Panther's done, which is really nice, and with the help of Ryan Heilman, they put together these nice scenario sheets. So in order to set the game up, you just grab whatever scenario you're playing. It'll tell you exactly where to place the units, and it'll tell you how to set up the game turn track, on what time the game starts. So that's done front and back for all the scenarios. This makes it nice and easy to set up. These are 11 by 17, and really do a nice job of showing you where everything belongs when you set up the game. We have beautiful rule book. This is the Irish Brigade monument right here, showing their Irish wolfhounds who accompanied them into battle. And it's nice big printing, full color. Added a lot of inserted remarks and examples of play right into the back here. So full rule book, and we also have a separate scenario book. As I said, there's 6 scenarios. These each contain the rules, and every scenario is detailed as far as where everybody goes, what the special rules are. The scenarios are typically small to large, so depending on your playing time, you'll have all sorts of options available to you. We have game turn track, beautifully illustrated by Ryan, and a terrain chart, so you understand what all the terrain features are. And we have 2 large, one for each player, player 8 sheets. Again, 11 by 17, nice full color, large print. This is everything you need to play the game you'll find on this sheet. Each player will have one of these. It looks like a lot, it's not really. But the whole game can be just played right off of these. There's 2 of them. And that's it. So you get all this in one box of tattered flags into the whirlpool. And I will now do a little, I'll show you how to play the game, basically, not all the detailed rules, but I'll give you a general idea how to play in a second.
Tattered Flags number 1, Into the Whirlpool, is available now from Blue Panther at bluepantherllc.com, $60. Thanks for watching.
Growing, the world's largest selection of tabletop games, going on 25 years now. From fresh-picked new releases to finely aged vintage classics and hard-to-find imports, you can buy, sell, trade, and play with us at our store in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Or shop online 24/7 from anywhere in the world, just like nature intended. Grown fresh daily at Noble Night Games.
Storm of Steel Wargaming, one video, because this was there last week, he gives us a bench report. Is this the end of humanity? Looks like Cthulhu to me. And Advanced Squad Leader Academy, 2 videos, a ASL Starter Kit, optional rules, expansion, ? And Advanced Squad Leader Scouting Report, 52 Doom Battalions. This is a or an unboxing on an Advanced Squad Leader Academy. Carl Walmsley is Wargaming Board Games his top choices. Check Carl out, love his hair. The Hugh Hefner of War Games. Wardy Robe Plays World War II has 8 videos. He's laying it on now, man, you know what I mean? So ASL Fighting Withdrawal, a quick after action report. Then Going the Distance for Mini Warm-Up Challenge. Okay, back to ASL Le Manoir, quick after action report. And Imperial Tide World War I game and entire war after action report, all 16 minutes, the entire war of World War I. I gotta check it out. Plus Crossing the Line, Where You Been All My Life, boot. And Storm Over Normandy, Unbagging with McMurray, D-Day 80, hashtag preceding D-Day 80. Then Crossing the Line, Aachen, 1944, scenario number 1, after action report. And again, take 2 of Crossing the Line, Aachen scenario. Love to say that, Aachen. Donnie of Tony's Board Life, 2 videos, and Heroes Against the Red Star Air Assault, Turn 4. This is a game by Lock and Load Publishing, AD Tactical ones. Then there's a JU-87 Stuka Ace unboxing by Lock and Load Publishing. Hexed Encountered, 4 videos. Save South Vietnam, first look. Then September 2024 channel update. Ebb and Flow gameplay from a Paper Wars magazine. Compass Games Oregon for Compass Games. And Bring Out Cheman Gentlemen, the Battle of Bronner's Farm gameplay. Is this a Tiny Battle Publishing? Looks like a Tiny Battle Publishing kind of thing. But hey, I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong when I thought I was wrong. Cutesy Pootsy Zilla Blitz. Lords of Heaven. I was going to say Haven. Lords of Heaven gameplay part 2 by Phalanx Game. Crusades War Game board game. Yeah. Smart War Games gives us 8 videos. This week, 2 videos on Afghanistan Royal Marines, Afghanistan 11 Royal Marines. Then Combat Mission Afghanistan removed from sale. Get your install license renewed. Okay, that's where people go, I guess, go on Steam. Then Angola 86 content and gameplay. 2 videos on that. A video on Panzer Commander content and gameplay. This is a preview. And Cold War Gone Hell, You Left Us gameplay preview. And this is special. We Harvest Shadows, a gameplay preview on Smart War Games. The Redoers, Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials. Burnside Takes Command, scenario number 4, campaign gain a rematch. Session number 3. Someone is having a hard time losing here. GIMPY of the GIMPY Gamers, 2 videos. SAS Rogue Regiment Mission 1 Part 2. Plus a Vento Nuovo game called Blitz in the East review. This is an Emanuele Sant'Andrea game. Or Emanuele Sant'Andrea, excuse me. The Shiv, gaming with Earl the Shiv Bickford. 8 videos. His game collection, part 19. Holy moly. Port Arthur, part 2. April's Harvest, part 23. Port Arthur, part 3. Player or collector? Plus, April's Harvest, part 24. Port Arthur, part 4. And his Vietnam collection on the Shiv's channel, Gaming with Earl Bickford. KilRoyWasHere was too lazy to send the video, so I had to go on his channel, take a screenshot, and give you the news. 4 videos, Coffee with Kilroy, my favorite segment, Game Trade Magazine, issue number 295. Plus, Next War, Iran by GMT, an unboxing, and the Battle of Calandale, or Calandale by Prinshep Games, an unboxing and overview, and Rourke's Drift, Men of Harlech by DVG. I'm stunned. I went on their webpage. I didn't see this. An unboxing and an overview on Robert Carroll's Charles S. Roberts winner. I think he's got 2 of them. KilRoyWasHere. Respect. Jim Ozarski, 4 videos. How I build tables for Charlie Don't Surf. That's part 2. Then the Battle of Tugendhusen for General d'Armée 2. Then the Battle of Dresden for Bloody Big Battles. And Roads to Moscow for O Group. Jim, O Group. Is this a Sanguine thing? For God's sakes, man. Someone help me here. War Game Guru takes a look at bolt action war game. It looks like a hell of an investment, man, to get into that. Because look at that. That looks wicked. Yeah, on War Games Guru. Diagonal Move, 2 videos. The Lamps Are Going Out, a playthrough tutorial, Fall 1914 game by Compass Games. Plus, The Lamps Are Going Out playthrough tutorial, Winter 1914. All this on Diagonal Move. Simple History, 2 videos. The World War II B-17 Flying Fortress. And Wartime Junk Food. That's gross. You'd figure you'd want to be at your best. But what do I know?
For the first Wednesday of September 2024, Seek Out and Play presents a short video that showcases the components and turn sequence of Blitz in the East, a new release by Vento Nuovo Games. The video shows the components of the game, along with the components for the Scorched Earth expansion. In addition, there is a run-through of the basic turn sequence to provide viewers with a basic understanding of how the game works. Blitz in the East is a strategic-level game of the Eastern Front during World War II. The game covers the initial German invasion of Operation Barbarossa to the final days of the Third Reich. Check out more videos on the games by Vento Nuovo when you visit the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel. In addition, you can listen to the monthly Speak Out and Play podcast, which comes out on the final Monday of each month. Plus, you can get early access to the videos and podcast when you join my Patreon page for just $2 a month. A new video is published every week, so I will see you next Wednesday.
Aaron Plays is on a tear. 8 videos, man. 1, 2, 3 videos on Alien Empires. It's a 1-player solo versus 2 Alien Empires here. And 1, 2, 3 on Ambush. So it's mission number 7, Bait for the Trap. I gotta get back into Ambush, man. I got 2 expansions. I'm missing one, and it's Silver Star. Anybody got Silver Star? Want to call me up, man? You know, we can talk. And 1 video called Into the Woods, Great Battles of the American Civil War, Shiloh, April 6th, 1862, episode 32, the 8 a.m. turn. Agility Snips Gaming Table, 2 videos on that game that's called I, Napoleon by Ted Racier. And it's a co-op playthrough, this time parts 4 and 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the same last week too. Blue Panther Games, and this is what I'm offering here on the show. It's How to Play Tattered Flags, that's what it's called. Into the Whirlpool with Herman Luttman. You know, when Herman makes a game, it's to be taken seriously. Yeah, okay, let's go see what Herman did this time. And also Tattered Flags, an unboxing of Tattered Flags, obviously. So, you get an unboxing. I'm going to show you here. The how to play is going to be at the end of this show. And check it out on Blue Panther Games. The Chief in Bonding with Board Games and RPGs. I had to make it long like that to get all the name, but he's got one video, and it's Neuralink Episode 2, the RPG mopping up a procedural RPG on Bonding with Board Games. The man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino. 4 videos in this Piacenza, 2, 3 in rap, a review, and then he starts Clash of Sovereigns, an intro on Calandale's channel. Charlie Charles Latorra, 4 videos, Air Assault on Malta, and Turn 3. I guess it's an older game, an old Avalon Hill if I'm not mistaken. Turn 6 of Air Assault, and I should say Air Assault on Malta. Game done. Brits have lost. Axis have the airfield and a port. It's over. Plus mail call, paints, primer, dice, and miscellaneous sundries on that channel that's called Charles Latorra. Chris Yates is back, and he's talking about North Africa 41 by GMT. Dave of Dave's Gaming Cave is doing Warfighter Vietnam Campaign. It's a game by DVG, and if you use the code No Enemies Here 25, you get 25% off. Heart of Darkness Town, Old Huts and Setup. Man, this Warfighter series has taken a life of its own. Good for DVG. Eric's Table, Napoleonic Battles, 1812 Napoleon's Faithful March, an overview and review. Hex to Hex, 3 videos, Hexes' new digs, The Movers, I guess he moved into a new place, Hexes' new home walkthrough and first play reveal, Gettysburg, The 3 Days of Gettysburg, episode number 1, Terrible Swift Sword. ID Jester, how many videos you want? He's got them. So we're going to be on tomorrow from 4 to 6 Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to talk about stuff. And he's got one war game here. He's coming back slowly, and it's a live open the box France by Mark Simonich of GMT Games. Love that cover. The rest, Jester's Judgment Stratomatic Baseball, Stratomatic this, Legends of Wrestling Mass, Stratomatic that, Action PC Football, Explore the Forests of Admiron with Mike Bertuccelli of, well, he's got 2 games. He's got Tank Duel, 2 games. He's got more than 2 games. He's got, from what I can think right now, Tank Duel, plus his new one that's coming out. It's on the P500 Wolf Pack. Go check it out on GMT, Mike Bertuccelli. That's what's on ID Jester this week. For our Spanish viewers, Julius Fairfax looks at the Republic struggle. Is this another Jason, I was going to say Jason Newsted. Jason, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. On the Republic, I'm on Julius Fairfax. Justa Garde has 2 videos, a comparison of 6 tactical war games from the 18th century, plus a new arrival, Next War Iran. GMT Games, an extended unboxing. Lock and Load Publishing has 3 videos, JU87 STUKAJOE's latest update and product images, plus Glory and Empire First Victory's latest update and product images, and World at War 85 Blood and Fury's latest update and product images. Alright, not very long there, but a minute and a half these videos, you get to see what you're gonna get if you P500 the games that were mentioned here. Hey, it's pretty good. Huh? Matt White War Games, the war game artist, has four videos, I should say. Combat Operation, Bitting, Solitaire War Game, gives us a turn description, a game setup, and a launch on Kickstarter. And this is his game. Is it biting or bitting? You know what I'm saying? Nanguaya, 2 videos. He's working on my own combat results table for my narrative game. And a little bit of everything. An untinning of trench knife, setting up Der Weltkrieg. It's a lot of stuff, Nanguaya. The Chef, Phoenix Knight, wants to tell you about his mystical munchies, a root beer float, on the Chef's channel, Phoenix Knight. Pushing Cardboard, 2 videos. Stalingrad Rhodes, an unboxing plus 1750, an unboxing on Pushing Cardboard. Blitz in the East, unboxing and turn sequence. This is what's happening on Seek Out and Play. There he is, the beautiful man, STUKAJOE, gives us an extended example of play only the way he can do it on Sea and Steel. And it's a game by Antonio Vaquera. These are the voyages of Columbus on STUKAJOE, the icon. Cody of the Discriminating Gamers, just like blasting with the videos. 8 videos. Lands of Galzir unboxing with Ray. Who's Ray? And Moonraker Overload. Plus Cody's top 50 World War II games. Come on, Cody, man, that's ridiculous. Then Dead by Daylight, the board game unboxing with Ray. Who's Ray? Then Moonraker Nomad. Then he goes back to his top 50 World War II war games, numbers 40 to 31. And Clank Catacombs unboxing with who is he? And Moonraker Binding Ties. All this excitement, and find out who Ray is on the Discriminating Gamer. The gentlemen of the Player's Aid have 3 videos, and it's a design interview with Wes Crawford, of I can't see the game, but he's obviously a designer. And Wes Crawford makes me think of the guy Freddy from Friday the 13th. You know, Wes Sanderson, whatever his name is. Then Raw Fallen Lands 2nd Edition, Fallen Dominion Studios, and designer interview Fritz Bronner on the Player's Aid at WBC 2024. The Tabletop Edge is doing World in Flames and Day of Decisions 3 combined campaign playthrough numbers 22B. This is from January to February 1940. I gotta get my friend to play a war game. We just leave it set up and we play it, and if it takes us a year, it takes us a year. The War Room Main Voyages unboxing by SSG Games. I think I have an SSG game. I think it was given to me by Tom Vassell. Bah. War Game Ramble, 1 video, Grand Havoc, The Battle of Perryville. Turn number 4. God, that looks horrible. I mean, to be in a situation like that. No, not for me. And the Cop, that is Wayne Hansen, is doing his game giveaway winner announcement, August to September 2024. It's Rifles in the Nam by Gottardo Zancani, published by Tiny Battle Publishing. Wise Guy History, 4 videos, pros and cons of Normandy, Operation Overlord, D-Day Games. Really, D-Day Games? Okay. and Wise Guy's Guide to the GMT Fall Sale 2024. And Pampero Solitaire Example of Play versus VJ the Bot. And Mistakes Were Made, The End of Atlantic Wall, the 8th of June, 1944.
Folks, Meandering Mike. It's been a rough week. Got sick. Thought I was almost on the mend. Had a great 4 to 6 hour period where I thought oh, I'm through it. And then nope, total relapse. So no signal boost. No idea when the next signal boost will be. There is no schedule for videos. When they come out at this point. I did get one done last week. Here it is. Take a look if you want to, the Mound Builders thingy. Now, I do want to say, when you're not feeling well, and I know I don't have that thing that I mentioned last time that I felt the symptoms were like, which of course then YouTube, slaps all sorts of restrictions on your video and stuff. It's not that. But when you're feeling really sick, don't know if you're going to make it, and I'm old and I'm over 60 and all that stuff, you start thinking about people in your life and, not necessarily having had a chance to tell them how much you appreciate them. So, yeah, that sounds pretty trite. I know we've all heard that, but yeah, it's true. So this is me telling you that all the people that have interacted with me on YouTube, on their channels, my channels. I mean, again, this is not like, subscribe and thank for subscribing and Phil. No. This is just like, thank you for everything. You might not be a subscriber. You may have never commented. You may watch in silence, but obviously, if you're out there and you're seeing this, you've enjoyed some of my content, and I appreciate that, and I want to just say that. So, that's it. I'm going to say, take care of yourself, and repeat it. Take care of yourself. Until whenever, next time. Ciao.
Another week, another show. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and support this channel. It's $1.25 an episode. Man, that's less than a cup of coffee. Thank you to Ricardo. Thank you to Mike. And thank you to Ray and Ken. Obviously, something must have happened. I hope it's not on my end that I messed up because, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna cut it short. Don't forget, Herman's thing is at the end completely. Be nice. Be nice. Alright? Alright. Have a good one.
Hey everyone, Herman Lutman here again. I'm going to take you through a brief tutorial, or at least an overview of how to play Tattered Flags into the Whirlpool. I'm going to go through the sequence of play, the rule book, and just basically describe how the game's played. Not too much detail, but enough to give you an idea of what you're getting into. To start, as far as the components go, I explained the map in the other video. I'll give you a little bit more detail on the units themselves. So what you see here, let's look at the Confederate side. This is the scenario, the Downeasters wall that I set up. And what you see here, the Confederate force is a brigade under the command of Anderson. So every brigade has its own leader counter. In this brigade are a number of different regiments. Each regiment is made up of 1 to 5 of these stands. Now, each stand, I'll use this one as an example. We'll have the name of the regiment here. Nice illustration of the troops. This white number on the top left here is their experience rating. That's how good they are. That's their basic quality, and gives you an idea of what they can do in the gameplay as well. On the right side, you'll see that there's a 1 in a brownish red circle. Now all these units have that same, and that's the brigade identification. And Anderson's piece also has that identification, so you can instantly see all the units that belong to this brigade. This is the 8th Georgia Regiment, and the other piece of information on here, it'll tell you in 2 numbers here, this one's 2/3, that tells you that this is the second stand of 3 in the 8th Georgia. The other part is right here, there's 1 and 3. And the number 1 stand of every regiment has their standard. So you'll see a little flag here. The Confederates have lots of different flags. And this is their command unit. All right, this is where a lot of the status markers go for the regiment, and just gives you an idea of where the colonel is, the standard bearer, the drummer, all that kind of thing. So, this particular brigade is made of a number of regiments, each of a number of stands. So once you get the organization down, the game functions based on that organization, a lot of the mechanics. A unit, so the way the 8 stars work, is a unit will sit in a space and it will point towards one of these 8 stars. So this unit's facing this way, that way, all around. And the adjacent spaces are 8, and they're the next space that that is being pointed to. So for an example here, these are the 8 adjacent spaces. And the star points to each one of these. So that's how movement works, and ranging and engagement. So let's go into the sequence of play. First thing everybody's going to do is the 2 players are going to roll for initiative. So you're going to roll, each going to roll a d10, high die roll gets the initiative. If you beat the other player by double, you roll an 8, they roll a 4, you get what's called dominant initiative. When you place your game turn marker down, you're going to place it with the dominant side facing the player so you can tell. And what that means is that player is going to be able to activate an extra brigade. Normally, the Union can activate 2 brigades, Confederates 1. The reason for that is the Union brigades are a lot smaller than the Confederate brigades. If you tie your die rolls, the player who had initiative before gets momentum initiative, and that lets them activate a previously activated regiment. I'll explain more on that later. We go through this. We go through, decide who's got initiative. The initiative player decides who's the first player, who's the second player. You can win the initiative and not necessarily be the first player. You might want the other player to go first. So whoever is the first player will activate a brigade, or in the case of the Union players, 2 brigades. And that's simply done by saying, in this particular scenario, it's nice and easy since you only have these few brigades here. So if you're the Confederate player and you win, you say, all right, I'm activating Anderson. You flip over Anderson's piece and it says activate on that side, so you keep track. You have to give an order to a brigade, and you do that during this part. And at the beginning of the game, you can give any order you want. So let's say Anderson is under an assault order. So you stick that order underneath there. Maybe the Union player had started the game under a defend order for de Trobriand over here, and a defend order for Burling. Well, let's say a maneuver order for Burling. Now what these orders do, there's 6 of them, And there's a marker for each one. You're going to place it underneath the leader, and that just gives you your parameters for play. You'll see on the, I don't know if you can see this, but on the player aid, it tells you the brigade orders and what you are allowed to do under each order, what you're not allowed to do, and what you, some have bonuses. So for an assault order, you're allowed to charge. You can't charge under any other kind of order. If you're further into the game, and let's say you wanted de Trobriand to attack, you have to change his order. You can't just arbitrarily do it. You actually have to roll on the change order table, and his quality will tell you how well you do. He may not change his order. He may get what you call an order delay, which is I can give him an order, but it's not going to actually take place until the following turn. So you stick the order under this one, and there's a 1-turn delay. So you've got your orders set up, everything's good, you're happy, and then you go through the sequence. So you're going to activate the brigade, and then you're going to do one formation at a time. A formation is an infantry regiment, let's say the 8th Georgia or the 9th Georgia in this case, or it could also be a battery. Now batteries, only the Union player has batteries. They function as their own brigade and their own formation. So when the Union player goes, he's going to say, I'm activating de Trobriand and let's say Winslow's battery. That acts as a brigade itself. They don't have orders. They can do whatever they want within certain limitations, but they can fire, they can move, but they have to limber and unlimber. So, as I said, this is a very tactical game, so it's a little unusual for me to do a tactical game like this. So you do your activations. Let's say you want to move. So moving is very simple. It's moving a unit to the next space, for example. It could be pivoting one angle and then moving. Okay, there's no moving diagonally, you have to move straight. Or you have to pivot. You can sidle, which is move sideways, which costs 2 actions to do. Or you can fall backwards, that's fall back, that's 2 actions to do. Or you can redress. So, how many actions can you do? Well, that's this big number right here. So, for example, this unit has 3 actions it could do. It might want to move straight 3 times. It might want to pivot this way for 1, go straight twice, that's 3 actions. Now, if you move across certain types of terrain, that can be disrupting. So let's say he does do this move. Well, moving through heavy woods is disrupting, so you're going to get a disruption for your formation, unless you redress, which is basically doing nothing and sitting. So redressing would prevent all that disruption. What else can you do during your action? You can conduct fire combat. One thing I forgot to mention real quickly is these brigade leaders have to be within command range of their regiments. So their command range is equal to the number of stars on their stand, and the idea is you've got to try to keep all your regiments within command range. If you don't, if let's say the 9th wandered out here somewhere and is now over here, so they're out of command range, you're going to put an out of command marker on these units. They're going to lose 1 action, so instead of 4 they get 3. And the other thing that happens to them is they keep the order that they were on originally. So if they were under an assault order, you'd put an assault order chit here, and they'd stay under an assault order until you brought them back within command. So that's very important. Now, you can also use that to your advantage. If you want them to keep assaulting while Anderson goes and does something else, that's cool. Except they're going to be doing it with 1 less action. So, as I said before, there's movement, there's stacking. You can stack 2 units together, that's it. No more than that. The other important thing is formation integrity. So you'll understand this as you play the game, but just to give you an idea. So let's take I'll stay with the 9th Georgia. You could take the 9th Georgia and move each of these stands individually, have them facing this way and that way, however you want. But they must maintain formation integrity. And that means every stand of the 9th Georgia has to be adjacent to another stand of the 9th Georgia. And so you end up making your own formations, okay? And this happened quite often in the Civil War. They were reacting to different threats. They make bent lines, they might make a double line, they might make a straight line. So there's no quote-unquote formations that you have to form. You form them yourself, but every piece must be adjacent to another piece of that regiment. So that gives you some flexibility, but I think you'll find, as you play the game, that you're going to be using the actual formations. Columns, units that are one behind another will move faster, more efficiently. They will fire more efficiently in line, and you can refuse flanks, which they did normally as well. So that's the maneuver part of it. Let's say you want to fire. So firing is done by percentage dice. Firing takes up one action to actually do the fire. So let's say that this unit is over here, and it wants to fire at this unit. So you have 3 actions. If it starts right here, you have 3 actions to fire. So you can use 1 action to actually fire, then you have 2 actions left. And then what you do then is you get extra volleys. So the 1 action is used to issue the fire, and then you can enhance that fire with the other 2 actions. And what that does is it gives you an extra percentage to hit. So from here, depending on the range, there's 3 different ranges. There's point blank, there's battle range, there's extreme range. That gives you a basic percentage chance to hit. So let's say here, basic percentage chance is 30%. And let's say they're using all their actions just to fire at the 17th main. So that's 2 extra fire actions, and for each extra fire action, you get another 15%. That's 30 plus 15 plus 15, so you're at 60% chance to hit right now. Then there are other little modifiers here that will affect that percentage chance. They're behind a stone wall, so they're going to take off 10% for that. If a formation is disrupted, that takes off some percentages. You end up with a net percentage chance to hit. So you roll your dice. Let's say blue is high. That's a 41. So if that's above your percentage chance to hit, nothing happens. If it's below it, that's a hit. If it's half or less below, that is a murderous hit. And a murderous hit is applied slightly differently than a regular hit. If you roll doubles and hit, so let's say I rolled an 11 or something like that, that's a critical hit. And that also has a different effect. So for a regular hit, you take out your hit marker, you put it out there, and you just keep that as an advice for applying later. If you got less than half or less, that's a murderous hit, you'd put that out. And if you got a catastrophic hit, or a critical hit, you'd put that out. So then after, let's say the 59th Georgia does all its stuff, you apply these hits. A regular hit will increase the disruption of the target. And that's simply done by taking a disrupt marker and sticking it under the command stand. And now you know that the 17th main has 1 disruption. If it's a murderous hit, well, a murderous hit is exceptionally bad, obviously, and you apply casualties for that. What's a casualty? Casualty is flipping this unit over to its battle-worn side. That's bad. Because if that happens again, that's going to rout. A critical hit is additional. So you apply a hit, and then the critical hit, you have a choice. You're either going to add another disruption to the hit, so 2 disruption, or this unit can withdraw. So it's an exceptionally bad hit. We don't know what happened. Maybe they got flanked, maybe the officer went down, whatever, but something bad happened to these guys, and then it's up to you to apply it how you see fit. So there are various ranges for fire combat. The artillery can fire a long way, and there are rules for obscured fire, blocking line of sight. It's actually very easy. You'll see, one thing I forgot to mention on the map is you'll see these different levels, elevations. So this is level 03, so this is all 03 in here. This is 02, this is 01. And you can fire over guys, you can fire over trees, but that will obscure fire, and that will be a negative percentage on your fire. That's most of what you need to know about fire combat. That's going to go back and forth and apply disruptions and hits and all sorts of other nonsense on the other guy. Then you have close combat. So close combat can only be done when you're under an assault order. Close combat is resolved during the mutual close combat phase. So you have to be under an assault order, you have to be adjacent to the enemy you want to charge. And during the mutual close combat phase, players will alternate sending off their charges. So the way that's done is you declare the charge, so you do the charge move, and then there's a series of tests. So this is done like a miniatures game where you're going back and forth with these tests. First, the defender takes a morale test to hold. Will they stand there as these guys are charging? All right. You go on this chart here, you're rolling 2 dice as a percentage, reading across, and it'll tell you what is this defender going to do. Now, their quality of being able to stand up to the charge depends on that experience rating as well. The result will tell you whether they pass, whether they issue defensive fire, whether they withdraw. If they stand there and they get a DF result, they can issue defensive fire, which means they get a fire combat shot at these chargers. Then the charging unit has to take a morale test to close, meaning now they see this guy standing there. Now will they finish the charge or will they back off? That's also a morale test for them. Very simple, charging test to close, roll the dice, do some modifiers, and apply the result. If these guys also pass, then you have full bayonet combat right there. Bayonet combat is done very similarly to fire combat. Both sides roll against one another, but the hits are far more deadly. So, for example, a normal hit is called a murderous bayonet hit, which will automatically apply casualties. If it's half or less, it's a catastrophic bayonet hit, which will eliminate the enemy stand. And critical hits will cause retreats. So, to get to close combat, it's a much more dynamic and critical event on the battlefield. You're trying to push these guys out of their position. It's deadly. Normally, one unit or the other is going to get scared and either not finish their charge or scare off the defenders. But it's a very important part of the game if you want to dislodge a defender from a position, and the Confederates will be in the position of having to do that more often than the Union. So that's close combat. Reorganization. So what happens is these units will build up disruption, all right, either from moving, from combat, whatever the case. They can only get up to disruption 6. When they get to disruption 6, you can no longer take disruption. You have to start taking casualties. So you'll want to have your units try to rest and reorganize and try to get this disruption back down. Any units that are at disruption 6 when you get to the mutual rally phase will have to take a formation morale test, meaning they're so disrupted that the entire regiment's going to test morale and find out if they actually withdraw from the battlefield involuntarily. They just decide to go back, or the colonel tells them they have to go back. So reorganization is very important. You can restore order by reducing your disruption level. You can recover casualties by, if a unit is on its battle-worn side, you can have it flip back over to its first side, but that costs 2 reorganize, and there's only a few orders that allow 2 reorganizes. And there's also rebuild. So if you actually lose a stand completely, the command stand can try to bring this back into the game, but it will come back battle-worn. So units are never totally eliminated. If you bring your units back and reorganize them, you can actually get them back into fighting shape, usually disrupted somewhat, but you can get them back into the game. I talked about morale tests. They occur throughout the game. Your units will do things on their own. There's nothing you can do about that. If units get in really, really bad shape, or they do particularly poorly on a morale test, they can become shattered. And shattered is you lose only your command unit remains, it gets a shattered marker placed on it, and it starts running. And during the rally phase, you have to try to rally it. If it fails its rally, it could shatter, just leave entirely, or run off the board. So that's when the formations get in really bad shape. The battle cards. So throughout the game, players are going to be getting these battle cards. And these can be used as you need. They all do different things. They all have different events that you can do. As I said before, there's a default event, so if you really want to move somebody one space, or you really need to have this guy fire one time, you can just take this card and toss it and use it for that. But all of these have really interesting effects, regimental initiative where they ignore their order and they do something on their own. So if you have a regiment that's in a bad order, but you wanted to charge or run away, whatever you wanted to do, you can try to play this card and have the local guy change his order himself. There's Rally Around the Flag where you can do emergency rallies. There's some historically Gettysburg specific, like where Longstreet directs the attack or Sickles directs the defense. You have Rebel Yell, which I think is in every single one of my Civil War games, is a Rebel Yell, or Hold the Line card. So all these add to the flavor of the game, but also add to your tactical decision making. And some break the rules, so you can do things that maybe you didn't plan for, but you want to take an opportunity. And that's about it. There's a lot more to the game, but it's been a lot already. It's a crunchy game, but I intentionally made sure that it was not too difficult to play. There's a lot of abstracted things, and I think you'll enjoy it because it doesn't get too low into the weeds as far as tactical details and calculations. After a while, you'll be able to recognize fire combat situations, and you'll know generally that you need a 30. So a lot of times you can just roll the dice before you even do all your calculations, and I see I rolled a 59 and I know that my guy missed on a 59. So you can save a lot of time. You don't even have to look up every modifier. You'll get it after a while. Anyway, that's it. That's Tattered Flags Into the Whirlpool. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please let us know, and I'll be happy to answer any on Board Game Geek or Console World or by email, whatever you like. I hope you have a good time with it. Thank you.
Tattered Flags #1, Into the Whirlpool, is available now from Blue Panther. Go to bluepantherllc.com, $60 US. It's for 2 players. It can be played solitaire, but there are no specific solitaire rules. Thanks for watching.